Ilhan Omar is making headlines on the news after having been ousted from her role in the Foreign Affairs Committee, a position that served her well to become the icon of diversity she's been trying to become. It didn't come out as a shock because she was continuously criticized for her take on one specific issue: Israel. The Republican-led House of Representatives that voted for her disqualification cites that she had undermined the relationship between the United States and Israel and even compared some Democratic states to outright terrorist organizations. Her controversial take on this issue led to her own party members criticizing her from the day she took office, and since then, Ilhan Omar's name has appeared more frequently in headlines in big, bold letters. Coming from very humble beginnings in Somalia and refugee camps in Kenya, Ilhan Omar has done well in working herself up into the midst of the most notorious members of the political class. Ilhan Abdullahi Omar, a Democrat, policy advisor, public speaker, and advocate, was elected to the House of Representatives in 2019 to represent Minnesota's 5th Congressional District. She does in fact have a number of firsts under her name, and many hail her as a representative of the people. But could she be using her newfound fame and onstage persona to manipulate her followers into her way of thinking? Questions like how she rose to power and created her audience still bug many, especially considering her upbringing. In this video, we'll be diving deep into Ilhan Omar's political journey and her loads of riches. If we check the majority of the political figures' early years, we'd find that they either came from wealthy or middle-class families. But with this representative of the political class, it wasn't the case. Ilhan Omar's childhood was far from wealth, power, and even far from America itself. Omar's mother died when she was only 2 years old, and it was her father and her maternal grandfather who raised her. Born the youngest of 7 siblings in 1982, she grew up in Baidoa, Somalia by her father Nur Omar Muhammad, a colonel in the Somali army. When Ilhan was 8, her family had to move to a refugee camp in Kenya where they stayed for 4 years due to the catastrophic Somali civil war. It was in this backdrop that the family was granted sanctuary in the U.S. and landed in New York in 1995 before relocating to Minneapolis, Minnesota, the place Omar now calls home. At the age of 17, she acquired U.S. citizenship. Ilhan Omar, then a graduate from the Thomas Edison High School, went to the North Dakota State University to get her bachelor's degree in political science and international studies. According to her, her grandfather Abukar was central in motivating her to pursue a political career. She used to join her grandfather in going to caucus meetings and helped him by being his interpreter. Omar comes into the political scene claiming a few firsts under her name. She's the first woman of color to represent Minnesota, the first Somali American, and legal resident of African descent to serve in the U.S. Congress. Upon being elected back in 2019, the restrictions on wearing head coverings in the House floor was amended for her in order to accommodate her beliefs, making her the first woman to wear a hijab in the House floor. It's ironic how she fails to reciprocate the very principle of inclusion that accommodated her in the first place when it comes to the citizens of the U.S. Being one of the newer faces in American politics, Omar has received both favoritism and has also frequently been the object of criticism. Ilhan Omar became the first Somali-American politician in the United States when she began her tenure in January 2017 after winning the Democratic Farmer Labor ticket for the Minnesota House of Representatives in the 2016 general election. During her time as state representative for District 60B, Omar was an assistant minority leader for the DFL caucus and was given committee assignments for higher education and career readiness policy and finance, state government finance, civil law, and data practices policy. This 40-year-old congresswoman from Minnesota has gained attention for her progressive Democratic stances, which include eliminating U.S. immigration and customs enforcement, instituting Medicare for all, and increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour. The question is, despite being first filed in 2003 and having the support of some legislators, why is the proposal for Medicare for all still up for discussion and not in action? If you're wondering what Medicare for All is, it's the act that would create a universal single-payer national health insurance system under which one government or entity with ties to the government would pay for all healthcare services that are included, ensuring that everyone has access to healthcare, is covered by health insurance, and doesn't go bankrupt from medical expenses. According to 2022 research reported in the PNAS, a single-payer universal healthcare system would have prevented over $100 billion in medical expenses during the COVID-19 pandemic in the United States in just 2020 and saved 212,000 lives. Despite having just 4% of the global population, the U.S. was home to almost 16% of all officially reported COVID-19 deaths. Why wouldn't the U.S. implement such a system if it already exists in so many other countries around the world? Could the failure be attributable to insurance corporations' contributions to the authorities or the lack of planning and depth behind Omar's proposal? She's also one of the members of the unofficial group The Squad, which has recently attracted a lot of interest. It has 9 members and is supposed to reflect the younger political generation's support for progressive programs, including Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. One of the group's significant members, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, coined the name for the group, and it has stuck since. If you haven't already, you should check out our take on AOC. The link is in the description box below. Compared to her fellow members of the self-appointed group, which claims to represent advocacy of progressive policies like Medicare for all and other social concerns, Omar seems to be a bit ineffective. AOC, on the other hand, has learned to quickly adapt and become an effective and notorious member of the House, gaining a national profile and the trust of her party members. She's also reflected an instinctive understanding of when to be pragmatic, which Omar lacks, making Ilhan rather inept of being a potential leader of the party. Ilhan has expressed her disapproval and criticism of a number of recent political occurrences. Her comparison of Israel's government to an apartheid state, however, sparked controversy and drew strong reactions. Back in 2011, she also received major backlash for comparing the Israeli and U.S. governments with Hamas and Taliban, which serves least in proving her best interest towards the country and towards the principle of social inclusion. In response to the criticism, she would often offer an apology, which is usually a paraphrasing of the same trope, or remark that she's glad it provoked a discussion. Because the Minnesota congresswoman has made headlines and become a prominent politician, many people are interested in her riches and the financial secrets she might be hiding from the public. From what it's known, Ilhan Omar has accumulated most of her fortune from her salary. Omar has a basic pay of $174,000 a year, like most other U.S. representatives. While her net worth is disputed, some claim that Omar has a $3 million net worth and a steady stream of income. There are no references to her involvement in real estate transactions, investments, trading, or any other kind of side business, unlike most other politicians. Additionally, it's reported that Ilhan Omar signed a $250,000 book contract with publisher Day Street HarperCollins and released her memoir, This Is What America Looks Like, in 2020. It's the documentation of her rise from refugee to the congresswoman. Back in January of last year, allegations were thrown at her claiming that she used her campaign funds to finance her affair with Tim Minette, who runs a political consulting firm called East Street Group, which was hired to work on her campaign. Records showed that the Minnesota Democrat paid more than $369,000 within a year back in 2019. Some claim that in 2020, 80% of the firm's income was made from Omar's campaign. The validity of these claims are still disputed, but investigations on this are possibly silenced by other controversies surrounding Omar. In comparison with her colleagues, Omar hasn't advanced a lot in her political career, quite possibly because she's been exhibiting a blind sense of concern about the affairs of the country and thereby losing the trust and support of the people. Ilhan Omar has a net worth and fame that is irreconcilable with what's known to the public. We are left only to speculations and assumptions as to her journey to success and fame. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments.